So good Saturday morning, everybody. We're glad to have you. And we're here for our what we call our power hour. And this is today's power hour is going to be talking about products. And we're going to just hit some of the company's products, some of our newer things. We're going to talk about the drops. We're going to talk about the Advantage. I really don't know at all what Kristen's going to talk about, but as I introduce you to, oddly enough, my daughter, Kristen Doyle White, she's been involved, and I'm not going to take all away from her, but she's really into this stuff. I mean, I call it, people laugh at me because it's, when I talk about nutrition, because I'm just not a guy that really understands. I just know what works, what doesn't work. I actually joined this company for strictly for the financial reasons. I look for a way to make extra income. And I'm a bit amazed at what the products have done for me. But without all that said, we're going to turn this over to Kristen. I know she has a PowerPoint. Many of you already know who she is. She's on the Athletics Council. She's been on the Partners Council. She's a personal trainer. But the good news is that she's also in the wellness group. So, Kristen, why don't you just, I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you kind of start, and we'll just go from there.
Okay. Actually, I just kind of messed up on my PowerPoint, but that's okay. So my name is Kristen Doyle White, and Chris is my dad. And I have been in the fitness industry for 22 years. I've been a product of these products since 2013. And as a fitness professional, you can imagine I get hit with all types of supplements, supplement offers, people asking me to look at theirs, people asking me to sell theirs in my gym because I'm an 8-year gym owner. And actually, I'll typically say, if yours are better than mine, I'll switch. Like, I actually believe if you have a better product, I want to take the best. It is an integrity thing for me to not only take the best for myself, but to offer it to my clients, customers, and my family. And what happens most of the time at the end of those conversations is I either perturbed people because I've shown them what they're taking is actually not so good, or they end up using mine at the end. And there's a couple reasons for that, and I'm going to talk very thoroughly about each of the products. But the biggest selling point when I started looking at these products in 2013 was this slide, okay? Most of this is very uncommon in the supplement industry. It's very uncommon to have certifications. It's very uncommon to have published clinical studies. It's very uncommon to have physician endorsements, and it's very uncommon to see all the different seals of approval. It's very uncommon to see them made in FDA-approved facilities. Okay, so that was huge for me to know all the capsules that have gone through manufacturing or all the powders. They could be made in the same lab as your pharmaceuticals. Okay, so that means they're very quality, they're very clean. They all have the USP standard, which means when I read the back of the label, I'm actually getting what I pay for. That's also a huge selling point for me. I know I'm not paying for something and it's not actually being in there, right? So if you don't know about all the seals, I always say, get on, read about some of them. I'm also obviously in the fitness world. I train sports people. So I get asked a lot, is this going to flag anything in my college? If I'm, a sports athlete, can I take some of these? And I'm always like, no, we are on the cologne list where we have NSF. They're clean, no banned substances, you're going to be completely fine. That's also huge. So huge deal on the fact that we're backed by science and we have all the certifications. But my dad said when I was going to talk about Slenderize and Advantage, and I originally was going to bring those in, but I don't think I have enough time to cover everything plus all the NUTRIFII lines. So what I really wanted to talk about today, a lot of people don't know what the whole NUTRIFII line is. And the NUTRIFII line to me is our foundational piece of nutrition. Y'all know about drops, right? Y'all use drops. Y'all take drops. Y'all do drop talks. What's the point of me getting on and telling you more about drops? What I think the missing link is people don't know about all of the other products we have and how they support your body's foundation. And so I really want to go into the NutriFi line because I feel like it is our foundational piece and our foundational layer, because at some point you may decide you don't want to do drops. Well, what do? How do you keep people healthy? And then now they're off the drops, or how do you start stacking them? So I'm going to go through one at a time, basically kind of what I think maybe is the most important and work the stack. And some people will say, well, I like optimals and I like Vinali. You can work the stack differently. To me, I like this flow. You may like the flow a little bit differently, but this is the flow that I think is very foundational piece by piece. And honestly, the reason I think I have found this to be the most important one is because I listen to a lot of Dr. Strand. And so he finds this is the best foundational stack too. Obviously, the optimals is the first foundation. If you're not on optimals or on one of our superfoods, you should be, but I do think that the Optimals is probably one of the most perfect products we offer. It is just your foundational vitamin and mineral. It literally just works. It's supporting everything in your body, your cellular function, your heart, your eyes, your skin, your bones, your nerves. It literally gives you all your micronutrients, right? That's what it's meant to do. And it's at optimal levels. So this is not RDA levels. We're working optimal levels. And feel free to screenshot any of this. So I want you to look at RDA recommendations. So I have that on the far left. We have recommended daily allowance intake. This is what the government says you should be getting daily. And then and that's in black, and you're going to see what we have in our optimals. Okay. And I want you to compare the numbers. And I'm just going to pick a few, but vitamin C, they recommend you take 90 milligrams. Look how much we offer, 650. Let's look at the vitamin D, 20. We offer 25. Let's go all the way down to the folate. They say you need 400. We give you 850. By the way, that's more than any prenatal vitamin you can find on the market. This is the best prenatal vitamin you could give to. So this is safe for pregnancy. What I'm getting at is these are not just meant to prevent disease, which is what RDA recommendations are. That's meant to prevent any type of disease setting in, whether that's a deficiency in vitamin C, which would give you scurvy, a B vitamin, which would give you pellagra, rickets, which would be a D vitamin deficiency. We don't want to just give you a basic recommended amount, right? We want to give you real cellular nutrition at advanced or optimal levels that have been shown to have a proven or health benefit. And this is in medical literature, which is why ours are in the physician's desk reference. You can actually find our optimals in the doctor's book. Okay. So to me, this is the best foundational piece that you can add in daily. If you do nothing else, you are covering your full micronutrient panel at an optimal level to never have a deficiency. So it's a great product. The second product I would think to stack on that was to me the best beneficial one is Magnical-D, especially if you're a female. So this is going to be obviously one that supports our bones and our muscles again. You probably just heard me say the optimal supports bones and muscles. I get asked that a lot. Well, this one supports bones and muscles. This one says it supports bones and muscles. Am I overdoing it? No, most people are deficient in D3. Okay. And taking a little extra of this one, especially as you get older, is very important to prevent fractures. We want to keep your bones strong and healthy. But to me, this is I always say they're all a perfect product, but this one took 18 months to create. Okay, this was a very thought out product. There's a lot of calcium products on the market. So this is specifically like your calcium product, right? There's a lot of calcium products on the market, and they're calcium carbonate. They're bad forms of calcium, but not only that, they leave out the supporters to absorb that calcium. So you see, we're getting vitamin D3 here. That's very critical. We're getting K2, we're getting magnesium. This is a synergistic effect. You absolutely need all four of these team members to do the job. You need the magnesium, you need the vitamin D3, and you need the K2 to get the proper calcium absorption. So magnesium is going to be specific for getting that D3 to uptake and do its job, right? So I want you to hear this, how it's the synergy of it, right? So you need magnesium to get the D3 to do its job, convert D3 over to make it in its active form. You need D3, you need vitamin D3 to help calcium absorb. Without D3, calcium is going to absorb maybe like 15% from your dietary intake. It's not very much, right? So you need that D3 in there. And then you need the K2 to actually tell the calcium where to go. So we want that K2 to go into the bones and our teeth. We don't want it to go into our heart, and we don't want it to go into our soft tissues. So if you have one missing link, your calcium absorption is either going to the wrong place, it's not getting absorbed right. There's something missing, which is why to me, this is the perfect calcium supporting product. Not to mention magnesium does wonderful things for your heart. It helps with muscle function. Magnesium plays a lot of different roles with helping you sleep, get GABA receptors open up. There's a whole different world of that. But when we're talking about creating strong, healthy bones and teeth, this is the best product to me on the market. And I think that's why it took so long to create, because it's in the perfect ratios and it's super bio, everything is super bioavailable. Our D3 comes from lanolin, which is a sheep's wool. So this is not a vegan product, by the way. They are going to shave the wool, extract the oil, and put this into the peel. So to me, this is a wonderful calcium product. So let's talk about the probiotic really fast. This is probably one of my favorite products we offer for gut health. If you have gut issues and you're not using our probiotic, or if you have bloating, swelling, I always tell people, start with our probiotic, use it for a week, and see if you aren't a believer in probiotics. So let's just talk about what's actually the key benefits of it, and then I'm going to go into another slide and tell you a little bit more about how good bacteria in the stomach really just promotes health. So our probiotics. If you don't know, we have 20 billion organisms per one pill, which is a very high amount. Most on the market have somewhere around 10. Some don't even have a billion, but around 10 you will find in the markets. They never have 15 strands. I actually went into Walgreens the other day and I was waiting for a prescription, and I was looking at their probiotics that they just had in there for fun, just waiting around, and I was just kind of counting some of them, and I was like 5, 7, 3. Like that was like the most that they were having. And I was like, ours has 15. It literally covers all these different strands. So you're covered when it comes to the different varieties. What this is going to help do is support your immune function. And I'll actually talk about that, but again, helps with your digestion, oral health. Most people don't think that probiotics could be linked to oral health, but if you have any yeast growth in your mouth, probiotics can actually help with that. Reduces bloat, cholesterol levels, and weight management, nutrient absorption, mood, well-being, because your gut is like your second brain. You ever heard, you got a gut feeling about something? It could be a relation, right? And then these are vegan and these are halal. And the best part about this little capsule here, it is delayed release. That is also very rare for a probiotic. Most of them are going to get digested right in the stomach. We don't want that. We want it to get into your intestinal tract. So when you swallow this pill, it is not going to get digested in your tummy and eaten up by the stomach acid, which is why I hate probiotics that are gummies. I hate probiotics that are powders. And if they don't have a delayed release, they're going to get digested in the stomach. And guess what's there? Stomach acid. So your stomach acid is going to kill a lot of that good bacteria. That's not what you want. You want that bacteria to get into your colon where it flourishes and creates that good microdome. And then we have this as non-GMO, soy-free, dairy-free, gluten-free. So I love that because I don't do gluten and there's no refrigeration required. But let's talk about what good bacteria does, okay? Good bacteria is also responsible for crowding out the bad microbes. It's enhancing gut mucosal barrier function. Now, most people are like, what is that really? Well, you have those actually in your digestive system, your respiratory system, your reproductive system. This is going to help keep out contaminants. So think about in your intestines, we want to keep the integrity of that barrier, right? We don't want contaminants to come into our stomach. We want to keep it strong, but also enhancing that barrier function. We want good nutrient absorption. In your intestinal tract is where you're going to get nutrients being absorbed. Your water is going to be uptaken, and you're going to have electrolytes being absorbed. So your tummy's going to digest it, but it moves it out, and your intestines are going to start absorbing the nutrients, right? But it's also going to help keep out pathogens. So if you're not keeping that strong, well, you can get sicker. You may not be absorbing nutrients as well. So, I mean, your supplements could be wasting, or your food could be wasting. You're just not, then your cells don't get as many nutrients. So really, a good gut is so important to overall health. And then, of course, stimulating good nervous system and keeping your immune system strong. So having your gut healthy is almost as important as having your nutrient levels up. So this is a wonderful add-on, and it just makes you feel better. I think my dad would agree. When he first started this, he was like, I've never taken a probiotic. What's it for? And now he's like, if he gets down to like 3 of those probiotics in a bottle, he's calling me. He's like, do you have any probiotics? I can't run out of those. So people always notice a benefit when they start this one. So let's talk about our omega Q. This is our fish oil. This is our omega 3s. Almost, man, these are all over in supplement stores. I mean, most people know taking fish oil is good for you, right? Or getting a good source of some sort of omegas, because why? It's good for your heart. It's actually good for your brain too. But we're going to talk about how ours is different, because I think a lot of people know fish oil is really good for you. But if you don't, let's talk about some of the key benefits of the omega Q. So we are getting omega fatty acids. Ours is going to have a little spike of some CoQ10 in it, which is an antioxidant we naturally make as humans. We slow down the production of it after about the age of 30, but CoQ10 actually is the fuel to our mitochondria and our cells, and you don't want to run out of it, because it's the energy to your cell. So I love that we put that in there. It is going to support your heart, your brain, your cellular functions, cardiovascular system. And obviously, if you have high cholesterol and you're not using an omega Q, you should be. But everybody, I think, should be on an omega 3 anyways, because it's anti-inflammatory. So let's talk about ours. And you have a lot of competitors when it comes to omega 3s. So let's differentiate. You get one, or you go shopping for one, and you're trying to decide, how do I pick one? And I'm going to tell you why I feel like ours is the best, because a lot of omega 3s on the market, there's a lot of different reasons to choose to be able to pick different ones. One, are they fish? Are they farm raised fish? Or are they ocean water fish? You definitely don't want a farm raised fish, because think of all the fish in that pond. They're overcrowded, they get sick. So what do the farmers do? Well, they're going to feed them antibiotics. They're feeding them probably GMO food. They get diseased. Like, those fish are just not healthy fish. And then they're pulling them out and they're extracting their oils, and they've been hit with antibiotics or GMO food. Like, yeah, that's just a nasty fish. Okay, so then you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna steer away from the farm raised fish, and I'm gonna go to the ocean water fish. Well, that is better, but are they a big fish? Is it a whale? Is it a shark? Is it a fish that lives a long time? Why does that make a difference? Well, if they live a long time, our ocean waters aren't necessarily that clean. What does that mean? They're exposed to heavy metals. So where do you store heavy metals? We should know, even as humans, we store them in our toxins. Where are your toxins stored? Your fat cells. What is oil? What is fish oil? It's fat. So these fish are going through the ocean and some of them can live, well, mackerel, I think, can live 25 years. Whales can live much longer than that. So if they're storing all of these leads and mercuries and BPAs, because, there's plastics everywhere too, in their oils, and then it's extracted, what does that mean? Some of it could be left over, or this. Farming, people know they've got to have that oil out, and they're going to test to see if the heavy metals in there. Well, they know they can't deliver you a product that has the heavy metal in, right? The farming agencies say, I got to have some of this heavy metal out because that's toxic. Like, it's not allowed. Like, the EPA will not allow that. But they will do a purification process on that oil using hexane. Well, hexane is a petroleum derivative. Hexane is also not good for you. Look up hexane. If you were to breathe it in, it could kill you. Why would I want to ingest that? I don't. So these are all different things you have to start looking at. If it doesn't say hexane free, it's a no-go either. So let me tell you how ours are different. One, we don't use farm-raised fish. Two, we use very small fish. We use sardines and anchovies. They have a lifespan of, I think, 4 to 6 years. And then we always are going to go to the best ingredient places on the planet. So we're going to go to clean waters. We go to the Peruvian coast to get our fish. It's a very clean water source. So then our fish are not exposed to many toxins at all. It's probably hard to eliminate it altogether, but they're not living a long time. And then we don't even use a hexane process. We use a low temperature drying enzyme fermentation purification process. It's patented, and there's only one place I believe that does it, and we use them. It is the reason why our omegas have no taste. My husband will taste these, and he's like, I don't burp up fish. It's because of the way we extract the oil. It's a very clean, healthy process. So there is a difference. There's a difference in where you get your fish. There's a difference in the type of fish, and there is a difference in the extraction of that oil. And it all does make a difference because a hexane residue left over does affect your central nervous system after a prolonged period of time, because that gets stored in us as well. And I just don't think, in the name of health, you can call it a health product if this is a residue that's left on a health supplement. So it's these finite details that make our products superior. And you really have to teach this to people because they're not going to know. And it's sad to me that people can't, like, they don't know, but they want to be healthier. They really do. And then you get these hexane buildups in the body, or you get these fillers and these flow agents put on capsules, and people just get sicker, and they're trying to be better. So, and that's part of, our government. So they don't govern it. So let's talk about Vinali. I'm going to spend a good little amount of time on this product because it's actually one of my favorites. It's a very multifunctional product. You can superdose this product. Everything else I talked about really needs to be taken at the standard amounts, what it's suggested. But this is a product that you can superdose. And it's a grapeseed extract. One of the most potent antioxidants known to man is grapeseed. It is wonderful. There is a little bit more in here than just grapeseed. We have some vitamin C. We have acerola cherry. You can see some of the extra benefits listed on this slide. Grapeseed is going to be good for cardiovascular health. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. Brain, skin, health, eye. You're going to see sometimes this stuff can overlap, but you can still use it all. We know vitamin C is the precursor for collagen. So I get asked a lot, what kind of collagen should I take? What kind of collagen should I use? You have collagen. And I'm like, yeah, you can use collagen, but collagen without high vitamin C levels is a wash. You have to have vitamin C to make the formation of that collagen. So you really need to be coupling these together if you're trying to do a collagen product. And then acerola cherry is just a souped up vitamin C, but I love the fact that it is in the raw form. We don't use any ascorbic acid here. That is unbuffered form of vitamin C. It can be hard on the tummy. It's not as bioavailable. So this is the best grapeseed extract on the planet. I can promise you that. This comes from a place called Indina. It's in Italy. They grow it from Chardonnay grapes, and they test for 350 toxins and pollutants. They are only required to test for 34. The next best one, closest to this, tests for, I think, 150-ish. Ours tests for 350. It is a very superior form of vitamin C. It is going to be twice as expensive as the next best one because they don't test for as much. Okay, so it is a very superior form of vitamin C that is put in this Vinali, which is why this product is also in the physician's desk reference. What are some, I'm going to talk about just grapeseed extract because I feel like it is the crown winner ingredient of Vinali. Okay, so what is in and what is the key characteristics of grapeseed extract? It has polyphenols. It's, again, a potent antioxidant. And I'm going to kind of break some of these down, but it is a natural anti-allergen, anti-inflammatory. It helps strengthen the blood vessels. This is actually good for blood pressure, and it does penetrate all tissues, even the brain. So an anti-allergen has been found to help your allergies. So my dad said, or I think maybe I said, he had gotten off of asthma inhalers. We don't heal, treat, cure, diagnose anything. That is not what we're here to talk about. But this is a natural antihistamine. It can help calm some things down, help inflammation. And this was shown to help his asthma. I'd known him all my life to have asthma inhalers all around the house. Like every drawer had an inhaler, every car had an inhaler. Like asthma attacks were a normal thing. He started superdosing Vinali when he got it, and I don't know if I've ever seen him puff an inhaler again. That was in 2000. Like, I don't know if he has. He might have to unmute and say, but I've never seen him use one again. And I was used to them being around all the time. And
Never
it's
used one again,
fun.
Kristen. That was the last time. And
Okay.
what we left out is I used a breathing machine. When it was really bad, I had a breathing machine I would hook up and take super doses of the inhaler. And it's been boxed up for now 12 years, 13 years. So yeah, I
Yeah.
love it.
And it is because, one, the fact as an asthma, sufferer, he is more susceptible to the allergies, but his lungs get affected and then he gets inflammation. So the fact that it's anti-inflammatory, anti-allergy, it's really helping his lungs and the inflammation in his pulmonary system. And so even with skin allergies, a lot of kids, have food allergies, but a lot of people have skin allergies. This has been known to help with the histamines in that. Anti-inflammatory, super, super anti-inflammatory all across the body. I've just put the comparison of how it is to Celebrex. It does kind of act like a Celebrex without the side effects. And then again, a key decreaser in the inflammation throughout the lungs. It does help with the inflammation in the lungs, the arteries, joints. This is really a good one. Again, if you have achy joints, and even with bowels, Crohn's disease, colitis. But again, we don't heal, treat, cure, diagnose anything. And this is never linked back to a product. This is an ingredient inside the product. So you can always go do your own research on grapeseed, and you would just find that this grapeseed in this specific product, Vinali, is the best one to me on the planet. It does, grapeseed extract does cross the blood-brain barrier. And I just like to talk about this because some things don't. And being that grapeseed does, that can help with inflammation in the brain and protecting any kind of oxidative stress that happens in inflammation in the brain, which oxidative stress is the dark side of oxygen, right? So we want to get all of that inflammation down, not just full body, but if you could get it down in the brain, you know how important that would be to degenerative disease in the brain? We're talking about Alzheimer's, dementia, any kind of neurological thing, because the fact that it does cross the brain barrier and keeps inflammation down. That is huge. And again, you can superdose this one. Does help with cardiovascular disease as well. I always say this is a great one for blood pressure. My husband is actually using this one for blood pressure. We finally gotten his a little bit better, unless the 10-year-old is on his nerves and it still goes back up. But over time, his blood pressure has come down. And then I like to point out that it is really, people don't think about this, but it's actually good. Grapeseed is good for insulin sensitivity. This is metabolic syndrome. So people right now are very insulin resistant. People with PCOS, type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance is very prominent right now, and we want to get you more insulin sensitive. The more insulin sensitive you are, the better. That means your pancreas is working the right way, your blood sugar stabilized better, and basically you're not up and down with your weight. Everything stays more stable. It's very good to be insulin sensitive. And of course, grapeseed is really good for cancer protection. So let's talk really fast about Restoriix. I'm not going to stay here very long, but this is what we would call our natural detox in a bottle. And every ingredient in here is going to help with detoxification. Zeolite, negatively charged, chlorella, negatively charged, activated charcoal, negatively charged, which means when it goes into your bloodstream and you have those heavy metals like lead and mercury and cadmium, it's going to say, I think I should attract to that. I'm going to get that out of her system and I'm going to roll it right down to her intestine where it can be pushed out. This is a really good product if you have a weight loss plateau, because a lot of times your toxins are stored in your fat cells. So if you're running a weight loss regimen and you hit a standstill, sometimes it's your body saying, I'm not going to let I'm not going to let these fat cells go because she's storing toxins here. But if we can get something in here to kind of nudge them and open the suitcase of that cell and pull out some of those toxins, then typically the fat cell will kind of say, okay, I'll release now because this is going to get out of her bloodstream. It's going to move right along. And that's essentially what this product helps to do and helps facilitate. It's just a great detoxer. So you run it, you don't run it every day. You can do it for like a month, go a couple months, put it back in. You could do it for 2 weeks, whenever you feel like you need that good detox hit. And then the final product, I think this is the final product in the NUTRIFII line that I chose to talk about. There's a couple more that I didn't put in the PowerPoint, but this is MOA. So this is our superfood. This is our superfood pouch. Personally, I absolutely love it. I've been using it since it was in that little bottle up there on the top right. That's when it had to be refrigerated like the Limu still does. And when it was opened, it had about a 2-week life in that refrigerator. And then we got fortunate enough to have it in our little 1.7 ounce pouches. But I like to talk about the progression of that, because when I first drank it, it had 34 superfoods. We added 2 more mushrooms, so we made it better. And then sometimes people are going to say, well, how does it stay fresh in that pouch if it's not refrigerated? Surely it's a preservative. Surely something synthetic's been put in there. And that is absolutely not the case. So even down to the way that this company has chosen to preserve their products, besides the fact they're manufacturing on capsules is wonderful because we don't have any flow agents, no artificials, even down to the liquids, we use a natural process and it is patented. It is called Natrix. And it's an exclusive blend of essential oils and it is a fermentation. So what are essential oils? We know those are good for us. Fermented foods, they're really good for your stomach, right? Fermentation is good for you all around. So that is how this little liquid is going to stay fresh in that little pouch. What's inside? We have 36 superfoods. And I don't always toss around the word superfood because I feel like that can become a marketing strategy. What I like to call them are functional foods. Functional foods are foods that have a huge health benefit or carry a high nutrient count. So what's a functional food? Not just in here, but a contrast to ones. Think of arugula to iceberg lettuce. It's like, I still eat iceberg lettuce, but I know arugula is like, that is a superior type of lettuce, right? It has more nutrition packed in that. So arugula would be more of a functional food here. And then they're going to help with more nutritional deficiencies. So it's just going to have more health benefits. So that is what is in here. We have more superfoods, foods that are really micronutrient dense, all packed into this pouch. And you can see some of the ones on here. Apples, I mean, that's just a basic one, but I can eat an apple. So that's not necessarily why I'm buying the pouch. I'm buying the pouch because how many times a day are you going to see me just eat a cordyceps mushroom? I mean, I like mushrooms. How many times are you going to see me eat a reishi? Well, I can't eat a reishi. It's as hard as the table that's in front of me. It has to be actually broken down. Turmeric. I mean, I can get those in pills, but why not just get it right here? That's what's going to give this little packet its punch. We have elderberry in here. We have black pepper in here, sour cherry in here. We do have 6 mushrooms, and honestly, that's my favorite part of the pouch because I'm not going to sit around and eat 6 mushrooms a day. But I know mushrooms are very, very good for you. They're very beneficial, and they have taken a huge rise because people are finding out the benefits of medicinal mushrooms. So we have the reishi, the maitake, the cordyceps shiitake, the agaricus, and the lion's mane. They are fungus. So what do fungus do? They eat other things. So whatever they eat can actually come into the product. That's actually the case with the maitake gold. It eats on purple corn. And so you get all of the properties of that purple corn sucked into that mushroom as well. They are anti-inflammatory, they are adaptogens. We know what adaptogens are because of the ashwagandha and rhodiola, right? We're helping with overall stress, full body stress, or it could be emotional stress, but stress specifically in the body. And they are immunomodulating. What does that mean? So that means if you have an overactive immune system, it's going to say, hey, you need to chill out a little bit. Or if you have an underactive and you just need a boost, or you need to help fight that flu or a pathogen or a bacteria or a virus, it's going to help you fight that to keep you from getting sick. So mushrooms are the crown winner to me of this pouch. So let's talk now about Renew, because this is the final product in the NUTRIFII line, and then I am going to hit one more from the Slender Eyes line for you guys. But Renew, to me, what I kind of talked about with all the other products is like your foundation. And then I added the MOA pack because that's the superfood. Like, how can you eat all that? It's very nice to be able to add it in because it's very unlikely that you would be able to eat all 36 foods. But all the other products are really a foundational piece to just a nutritional line, right? And I'm not saying you go get all of those at once. You start with one and then you can start stacking, right? But Renew to me was the product that they brought on that was really like the fire to getting your body to accelerate. Like everything else is supporting, giving you cellular nutrition, providing micronutrients. And now I've got my body feeling better here. It's supported foundationally. How do I get it to just really, really catapult? And how do I get myself to feel like maybe it used to feel when I was 20? Okay, that's what we want, right? We want to feel young again. So then they came out with Renew, and this is a HGH supporting, I guess you would say, product. It's going to stimulate your body to create human growth hormone again. So we're going to be promoting some healthier sleep, better sleep, libido, stamina. We want to reduce body fat, youthful skin, hair, mood, energy. That's literally what HGH does, right? It is responsible for all things cellular rejuvenation, cellular growth. That is literally what HGH is going to be supporting. But here's the issue. You can find yourself on this chart if you would like. When I first started the product, I was 35. So I honestly was like, I'm probably fine. I don't know if I need this yet, but I'll try it anyways, because why not? It's a new product. Now I'm 40, you can see where if I was just starting the product where I would be. And as you age, your production starts going down. And there's some different reasons for that. It's always going to start going down as you age because you're aging. Like it's just what happens. It's going to be natural for it to start going down, but there are other reasons it can go down. You have a bad diet. You don't exercise. Exercise naturally stimulates HGH. You have increased stress. Well, who doesn't have increased stress, right? That's almost hard to get around. Poor sleep patterns. If you're not sleeping well, you're not getting a surge of your HGH. And then, of course, abnormal hormonal situations. Here are some signs to know you are deficient or could be deficient in HGH. And you can just look at those. I don't have to go over all of them. Sometimes if just being really tired all the time, not sleeping well, you feel like you're starting to look older, you just don't have any stamina, any energy, like that to me alone is enough to know this product could be a help. But let's talk about really how it works and what HGH is. So this right here is your pituitary gland. It is in your head, and this is what actually helps your body make HGH. This sends the signal to make the HGH. Specifically, your hypothalamus is going to send the signal to the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland is going to say, okay, body, you need to make HGH. But sometimes some things happen besides the fact that we're aging to make this go wrong. But once HGH signal gets sent, HGH goes two places. One, straight into the bloodstream for cellular repair and rejuvenation. We really want that. That's good. It's going to start working on getting things looking better, skin, hair, nails, all those things, energy. And then it's also going to send the signal to take HGH to the liver, where that HGH is going to be converted into another type of hormone called insulin growth factor 1. And this is going to actually start repairing muscle, bone, and tissue. But it also helps stabilize blood sugars. It does a whole other host of different things. So if your HGH is off and that IGF-1 gets off, well, your bone density could go down, your lean body mass tissue could go down because your glucose levels are not working as sufficiently. Like all of these things have a trickle effect, and it could be linked back to HGH, right? So that alone, with the aging, there's also two reasons why the hypothalamus could not be sending the signal to the pituitary gland. And this is what we want to biohack with this product. As we age, two things increase. One is an enzyme called DPP4, and then another hormone called somatostatin, which is a natural inhibiting hormone. We all have that. That hormone can actually inhibit other things, and you actually need a little bit of somatostatin. You just don't want an abundance of somatostatin. So DPP4 and somatostatin are in the hypothalamus, and they're kind of creating a rough channel. Like think of surely everybody on here remembers early 2000s, and you had dial-up internet. If you're on here in your 20s, I'm sorry, you don't remember this. But we had dial-up internet, and sometimes you'd get a good signal and be fuzzy, or you would get a good signal and you could connect right on, and sometimes you get a bad signal, right? And you'd be like, oh my God, I gotta try again. Oh my God, I gotta try again. Think about DPP4 and somatostatin being the bad signal, right? We want to get that signal open back up so the hypothalamus can send a very clear signal to the pituitary gland to make HGH. And that is essentially what Renew does, okay, with these blends. So DPP4, I'm actually going to go to the HGH booster blend. We have a couple of blends. The amino acid blend is going to help increase the suppression of somatostatin. And so we're getting that channel lowered. And then the botanical blend is going to help support the inhibition of the DPP4 activity. And I think it's not quite 100%, but it's pretty darn close, okay? So that means that channel from the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland just got clear, and your internet dial-up is, woo, we're working, we're hooking up, right? That's exactly what this product is doing. It is patent pending. It isn't going to help increase your HGA levels. We also have some other ingredients in here with GABA and beta-alanine that help improve your sleep. To me, that's important because if you can get to sleep quick, your HGH is going to be naturally the highest about 2 hours after you fall asleep. So the product is wonderfully thought out because they're already blocking the DPP4. They're helping somatostatin be decreased, which is what we want. And then we're getting you into a good night's sleep, which is when your HGH level rise naturally the highest without anything. So you're going to wake up feeling good. And then I always call this the builder product. You might sleep really good the first night. You might start sleeping really good the first week. You're already going to feel better because you're sleeping good. But 2 months in, 3 months in, this product, you will feel a difference. You will look different. Your skin will look different, but your stamina and your energy after time, because you have to go back to that picture. Remember the picture of the bodies? You can't raise a person whose HGH is down here all the way back up here with 2 packets. You can't raise them with 28 packets, which is a month. But after 3 packets, after 3 months, we go from here. Your body HGH levels will start going, and we are slowly rising. This is a builder product. So I always say, I am at that 40-year-old person now, but I started the product before I ever had a dip. I feel just as good as I did. I may feel better than I did at 35. Because now I've been running supplements, I've been running this. I don't feel older. And that's the goal, right? We can age, but we don't have to get older. We can it doesn't have to be that way. It's natural to get older, but we don't have to feel that way. So this is what HGH, the hormone, actually does. And again, we're not putting anything synthetic in here. We are stimulating your body to make this, your body. We don't want to put anything synthetic in here because that's comes with side effects. We want your body to do the job. So HGH has been linked to enhanced weight loss, increased muscle strength and tone, increased skin tone, energy levels, libido. And I kind of talked about that. It does keep your bones stronger, better mood, cognition, function, better sleep, and stop age-related telomere shortening. And that's just the end of your chromosomes, which is a weird thing to talk about, but the end of your chromosomes have these little telomeres on them. And it's kind of like shoelaces have the ends, like the plastics wrapped around the shoelaces. And we want to protect your chromosomes. Just like the end of your shoelaces, you don't want that to fall off because then your shoelaces start to fray, right? We want to keep the integrity of your shoelace. The same thing with the telomeres. If we have telomere shortening, your chromosomes can start being damaged, and that leads to DNA damage, or the replication of cellular turnover or replication starts messing up. We want to protect those telomeres. And when you have chromosomal damage like that, it's just age-related diseases like osteoporosis, or even could be pulmonary issues or cancer, degenerative neurological things. But this actually, again, HGH helps. It's the anti-ager. So even down to your chromosomes, HGH will help with protecting that. So it is a synergy, and just know that this is a patent pending formula, and every little blend in here was synergistically thought through to make it what it is. And to me, it is one of the most creative science breakthrough products, not just that we have. I really think it's one of the most scientific products on the market. It's like we have new technology coming all the time with our electronics. This is no different. This really does go in, biohack, and help your body start creating HGH naturally and safely. All right, my final product is going to be PureNourish, and this is from the Slender Eyes line. And I wanted to bring this in because a lot of people do run the drops. And if you aren't using our PureNourish and you use another protein powder, I do get asked, is this an okay powder? Is this what do you think about this one? And sometimes they're fine. And sometimes I'm like, no, you can't use that one. This is why I want you to be able to read the labels now. Because I read a lot of different protein powder labels. And I just want to go through how I read them and why I love ours. And I don't, this one's completely perfect to me. It's a safe product. It's a good protein powder. This is everything it does. It does support digestion. We have prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes. This is why your tummy doesn't hurt when you use this one, besides the fact of some other things I'll talk about. It is good for memory function, liver, cardiovascular. That's because this is a plant-based product, okay? We have our omega-3s in here. We have a full vitamin panel in here. It is plant-based, non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, and it's dairy-free, soy-free, and no artificial sugars, no artificial sweeteners, no artificial binders, no artificial colors, no artificial preservatives. But it is plant-based, and I get asked a lot, why don't you do a whey protein? Is that not a better source? Is it not more bioavailable? Even if you're a fitness person, like, why wouldn't you do a whey protein post-workout? Whey protein is a little bit quicker absorbed. That is a fact. It does get absorbed faster in the bloodstream. So post-workout, people would think that's more appealing. It doesn't really appeal to me that much. I mean, it's not that much more efficient, but the fact that it comes from milk is the issue for me. One, I'm not a cow, so I don't think I need to drink cow's milk like that. Cow's milk is meant for growing calves, right? I understand people still eat cheese and things like that, but this is a daily routine that people will drink 1 to 2 of these a day. And cow's milk, and by the way, whey proteins, isolates, concentrates, hydrolyzed casein, that's all just a byproduct of the milk or cheese making. Like, it's coming from the milk, right? So the milk is going to contain some hormones. It's coming from a cow's mammary glands. I mean, I'm a mom. I had a child, and I fed my child to have her grow. I understood, like, I was passing on really high dense nutrition to grow an infant. And you know how fast she grew? You know what I mean? So it's the same thing with calves. So they're going to have some hormones like some estrogen, progesterone, and I just talked about IGF-1. We make that in our livers. Same thing with cows. So those are going to be essential in a calf's development and their immune system. Yes, cow's milk, it's not going to kill us, but it's meant for their development, not needed for us, especially in those high amounts, and it shouldn't be a daily routine. They are going to have a lot of calcium in them, but you can get calcium from other places. And here's also the thing I have an issue with. Cow farmers, commercial dairy farmers, they are allowed to give their calves bovine growth hormone. This is going to help their production of more milk. You don't think some of that residue gets left over in some of the milk? I don't need any more growth. I don't need that kind of growth hormone. I don't want to get no bigger like that. So why would I want to put that in? By the way, that's not a practice in Canada. This is a United States thing. But the FDA does allow for that increase because it's a money thing. They want to make, the more milk they make, the more milk they can put on the shelves. So this is a hormonal thing. And when we're really talking about getting our bodies healthy and reset, and you're using these drops, the last thing you want to do is put something that's going to cause the imbalance, which is why we don't put dairy in it's not on our approved food list because we don't know how it's going to affect your hormones. So we want to get everything working to balance and to eliminate hormone disruption. So I personally stay away from the wheys and the caseins. And then the next place I look on the label when I look to see the first source of the protein source, I'm like, no whey, no casein, we don't go there. But if that's clear, then I'm like, okay, let's trickle down into that ingredient panel a little more. And let me look for those fillers, binders. Obviously, I'm looking for anything artificial. I don't want sugar, artificial colors, sugars, flavorings, all of that. But I want to know what type of filler and binder they have. And if it says maltodextrin on there, it is a no-go. And by the way, look at all the places maltodextrin is. It's everywhere. And what is it? So maltodextrin is a starch made from potatoes, corn, and some wheat. Most of the time it's potato and corn, but it's a filler, it's a binder. And let me tell you, it's going to spike your blood sugar levels. The FDA does not make nutrition label maltodextrin as a carbohydrate on the nutrition label, but it is. It is a polysaccharide. It is absolutely a sugar. And it is going to affect your blood sugar. This should not be in a health product. So this is a filler or binder. It's an emulsifier, and it is put in there for that reason. But here's the thing. When it's put into, obviously, any kind of foods, well, let's talk about protein powders. This is why I can't drink most protein powders. And I absolutely believe it's because of this ingredient. Think about this. If it's a filler or binder and it's starchy and it's sticky is what it is. It's sticky. So I've drank it and then a couple hours later I get kind of swelled and bloated. But what is going to happen is it's going to stick into your intestinal tract. It's sticky is what it's a sticky, it's a binder. And it's a sugar. So it's a sticky binder sugar that's going to get in, and some of it's going to get stuck in your feet of your intestines. What is that going to do? It's going to create a breeding ground for bad bacteria growth because bacteria love to feed off sugar. This is the nastiest ingredient on the market, yet look at every place it is. And it's sad, and I really don't care that it's in candy. I don't care that it's in some baked goods. I know those are not health products. It should not be in a health food. It should not be in a supplement in the name of health because we are trying to promote things to make people feel better and get healthy. I don't care if I eat a Snickers. I know a Snickers isn't good for me. I know going into that. But I can't sell somebody a health product and this ingredient be in there because I know for a fact it's going to spike their blood sugar and I know for a fact it's going to make their stomach and their gut hurt. It shouldn't be in there. So I love our company because we have a no compromise philosophy. We do not sacrifice any bad for $1. They might be a little more expensive because we have to have more hands on our conveyor belt. It might be a little more expensive because we use a better binder or filler. But that is I think the trade-off to actually providing real results. So I believe that is almost my last slide. These are some of the ones I have found that have them in them. Oh, I did say I was gonna do Power Boost too. I'll save it for another day. And then I always end with my baby. If you can't recognize an ingredient, your body won't either. And your health account is just like your bank account. The more you put in, the more you can take out. So that is what I have today. I'm going to come back to you.